Hi, folks. This is Anne reporting live from the You Might Know Her From Patreon. We are giving you a little sneak peek of our conversation with the folks from Mixed Reviews. That's Gavin and Louie, where we are talking all things Joel Schumacher, that gay icon of many of our favorite Batmans and many other just like gay hits. So if you want to hear us talking about Joel and all the great things related to his career, his personal life, his body count, there's a lot of good stuff here. Enjoy this little tidbit that we're putting on the main feed, and we'll see you soon. Okay, big day for us here at the You Might Know Her From Patreon because we are back with a special episode with Gavin, Mevius, and Louie Rendon from the film podcast Mixed Reviews. One film topic, 1 month, lots of movies, even more opinions. This is one of our favorite podcasts. We are longtime fans, longtime listeners. Gavin and Louie, welcome to the show. We love you both so much.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I like that I paused to wait for Louie. I was like, Louie, say something.
You perhaps forgot the most important thing. You guys are also previous guests on the Mixed Reviews to a very special episode. You guys brought to us an icon, Xanadu herself. I will never forget having the conversation about Greece and how we were like talking about like, oh, well, I can Sandy at the very end. And I was like, you know what? No, he's also wearing the jacket. And we all had a moment of realizing that like Greece actually is good, not just because of the music. Like the story makes sense. Things are happening.
We're giving you a pass in 2026. Yeah, no, we love your guys' show where you do deep dives like we do, but you choose a film topic and then you go extensively deep on the career. So I was just thinking about our Olivia episode the other day because I watched things on YouTube that were like previously unavailable that I can't even name. But I was like, wow, I really did watch her
She was in that AIDS movie that we could only find on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was that It's My Party?
I think that's
It's
right.
My Party.
I love that movie still.
It's so
sad.
good.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's wonderful. Yeah, I love Olivia Newton-John. May she rest.
I know. I really did think of you both the day that I was at the Hancock Shaker Village when the news came, and and I immediately was like, oh, Dan and Amian, like Anne and Damien. Wow, Dan and Amian. Whoa.
Dan and Amian.
This is post-work brain. Anne and Damien. How about those are your names?
I do want to offline about the Shaker Village visit though, because it is something that I've been wanting to do since I saw the Testament of Anne Lee. Like I'm really invested.
It's very cool.
Huge.
Yeah.
So you guys recently celebrated, well, we all celebrated Pride, I suppose, in our own
Just
way,
us.
but you guys did a deep dive on the one and only writer, director, producer, gay icon, Joel Schumacher. And we said, well, we need to talk about this with y'all.
Yeah. So we've been doing Pride episodes ever since we started. We used to do 2 a month, I guess. When we used to do bi-weekly, now we're monthly. And this year we've been running like contests, see who wins. And Joel actually was like freshly into the bracket this year. I just thought like he is one of the ultimate like Hollywood wrestlers, and like I like, you know, the bangers. Like I was like, of course I know Phantom, of course I know the Batmans, but like I was like, what else is in there? And I didn't realize, you know, like when we talked about it on our episode, we had seen some of his movies for other actors. You know, he discovered Colin Farrell. Like there's a lot of different ways that it went, and so his career is super interesting. And yeah, just like kind of seeing how he like really put his homosexual touch on everything he did. Oh, Lost Boys, of course. Hello, how could I forget? Yeah, lots of good stuff.
How many films would you guys say that you watched in preparation for Old Joel? Because you guys are very extensive research. So how many films in total? Do you know how many that is off top of your head?
Oh God, I can look it up.
Hold on.
I feel like it's a lot. Like I feel like you guys are extensive, and I appreciate that. You are a completist, Gavin.
Yeah.
And I love that about you.
It's called mental illness, but I do appreciate that you love it about me. It is a 26 film career, including 2 TV films and a short film that he directed right before that was the last thing he directed in terms
Which
of
was
film.
sweet. He like did like a gay small short
Yeah.
film, which shout out to him for paying it forward. I love him.
And it was like a thing that it was like a contest where a script won. It was submitted by a teenager, and it's not good. And I like and like no offense, but it is very cool of him to do, especially like in his late 70s at that time, you know.
One of the things I love about this episode was I feel like I was also a big fan. Same thing, Batman movies. Honestly, I didn't know that that he directed The Client, which is one of my like favorite '90s thrillers. But I always thought of him as sort of like a gay bon vivant, like man about town. Once I learned about his sort of like '70s and like the '60s and '70s of like real wild partying in New York City life. But I love that you guys were like, he actually seemed pretty humble and really paid it forward to like younger artists and was not like full of himself. And he considered himself like a gun for hire, which I think is kind of refreshing. He could have been a very different sort of like egomaniacal personality on the interview circuit. And instead he kind of came off as not an everyman, but it's like he is like gay and has real taste for beauty, as you say multiple times throughout the episode. Like he discovered so many beauties throughout his career. But I appreciated that he was actually kind of maybe a easygoing, like nice guy, and maybe not like a nightmare human.
Yeah, we didn't talk about this, but I was later. This always happens though. Like, after we finish recording, I'm like, oh, this thing I want to talk about. But like, I was thinking about other gay directors, like known directors, and like what came to me, I was like, everyone kind of knows like what a fucking nightmare Bryan Singer is, and like who
he's hiding in Israel right now.
Right.
Oh my
like,
God, is that where he is? Jesus.
Who's like, allegedly like done some not so great things to young actors. And I mean, didn't Jennifer Lawrence famously say like on one of her roundtables, like, he's such a fucking baby, like, he's a complainer. And so thinking about like how I think Joel is just like, he grew up back in the fucking day. He was on set with like Sondheim in what's the movie, Gavin? Sheila,
The Last of Sheila.
The Last of Sheila. Like he was, and also just like, a tactile human. He was making these beautiful sets, making these costumes. And so, I think because he kind of didn't like show up and be like, okay, I'm a director and like this, I get everything I want. He really, I think because of his, upbringing and like, with a single mom and poverty and like drugs, he'd seen things. He'd been through like real hardships. And I think that kind of, you can see that in ways where like other gay directors who maybe have more privilege than him are kind of fucking assholes.
Totally. And I think there's just a mentality to that era of, he was born in 39. So like we're coming up on his centennial basically. And I recently saw a screening of Silence of the Lambs where they had the editor of Silence of the Lambs, who's now in his 80s. And he was talking about how like that's just what you do, is you find people that you think are talented, that you like working with, and you like bring them up, you lift them up the next rung of the ladder, because that's how the business survives. And like if you're not in it for the love of film, then you like, what's the point? And so I think that's what Joel Schumacher talked a lot in interviews about, how like his dream was to be a filmmaker, and I think he saw that in other people when he was working with them. So like he always wanted to not only get the best people for the job, but also be like, and now you get the opportunity to do this, like this is on you, I'm not always going to be here.
I also just love that I think that there is a nicheness or a sensitiveness or an indie or artsy sensibility that so many gay and queer film directors like Pedro Almodovar, or Todd Haynes, or like John Waters, or like Lisa Cholodenko. It's like they are making prestige art films, Oscar films, whatever you want to call it. And he also seemed to be like, I want to make like popcorn movies. And like, I feel like I respect that he brought his queer sensibility to these big, splashy, colorful, insane movies, but and also like John Grisham movies.
He does sort of, it is really sort of fascinating because he does really have a mainstream taste, and I think outside of film he didn't, and like that's another interesting thing, because one of the things I was thinking about that we also didn't get to in the episode, there's this great 2019 interview with him right before he passed, where the interviewer asked him about everything. And at one point he was like, marriage equality, what do you think about it? And he's like, I think it's fine. But he's like, but I think it's a reaction to AIDS, because when we were in the clubs, I wasn't like going around going, who wants to get married and have kids? and, and that's a very gay sensibility. But then when he made movies, he made mainstream film.
Right, right. And I feel like I'm trying to think of some of the movies that you guys referenced. What was the movie that you were talking about? Because I feel like the interesting things that I learned from your show about Joel was that like he wrote the screenplay for The Wiz, which is insane.
Wild.
Insane. And let me look at my notes. I just have to go back to what we were talking about because there's a few other things. Sparkle, he wrote the script for. Insane. He submitted a script for the chorus line. But separate from that, like what was his connection to Black culture? Like how did he get this pass to like write screenplays about like a Black story?
We talked a little bit about this, and this is speculation, but what I can imagine is he was so young, going to clubs, going to places like if disco was booming, right? Like, and who was making this culture? It's queer people, it's Black and brown people. And I think he had that like essential New Yorkerness, right? Of just like, he already was an undesirable to mainstream white culture. He was like, these people are fucking cool. Like they can hang, they can dance, they're beautiful, they're making the music I want to listen to. And so I think he like, in a very classic way was, the young gay kid who like the Black and brown queerdos were like, he's invited to the cookout, right? So I think he, in ways, and we talk about this a little bit, where it took a white man, though he was gay, to like bring that Black culture into Hollywood. We talk about DC Cab, which is such a crazy movie and by all accounts should be insensitive and grotesque. And it's actually not. Like it's weirdly gives a lot of agency to its Black characters. Mr. T in this movie is like trying to make sure the kids have like good role models, while at the same time like beating guys up. So yeah, I imagine he's like he's around these Black women who are singing and dancing, and I imagine that's where he's like, oh, I can write Sparkle. Like, of course, I know these people.
Okay, so one of the things I love about your show is you keep bringing up what an eye for beauty he has, and we talk about how many beautiful people he discovered like throughout his career, including Colin Farrell, a little bit, kind of Julia Roberts. Who else is in that category?
Demi Moore, for sure.
Oh my
Demi
God.
Moore. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys tell the story about Demi Moore and like she was auditioning for St. Elmo's Fire, is that right?
Yeah, she was like in the audition. I think she was like waiting for the audition. She had to bounce essentially, and he had happened to walk out of the room and like saw her in her big hair and was like assistant, because if anybody's actually seen her, because she was on a soap opera from her soap opera era, it was very teased, and he was like, assistant, track her down, go find her, and like got her information because she was just ending her contract on a soap opera and whatnot. And so yeah, like he just did. Matthew McConaughey's in there as well too. Matthew McConaughey had done films before, but he really pushed for him to lead A Time to Kill, which luckily he said, that why can't I think of the author?
John Grisham.
John Grisham was very happy too. So like once he had him in his corner, it was very easy for him to be like, this person who's not well established should lead this film.
And one of the things I love about your show is you like loop in these interview clips and like you give us background on the director. And then you're like, here's a clip of Joel saying like, if you see Julia Roberts like in a room and you don't think she should be in movies, like you don't need to be in the movie business. Like get the fuck out.
And it's like so true, because like Flatliners is a very whatever movie, but as I'm watching it, I'm like, Julia Roberts is slaying every scene in here. Like Baldwin down, like Kiefer down. Julia is just eating them all. The only woman in the entire movie, and she's eating them all up.
Yeah. When we first started the show, it's actually, and I always try and make sure I give Louie the credit. Like Louie came up with the idea for the show. We were trying to come up with an idea of something to do. I was coming off a podcast, and Louie was the one like, you love movies, I love movies. Like, let's do a thing about movies. My contribution was like, if we're going to be talking about specific people, I was always like, I would like to hear from them, because I think there's a lot of podcasts out there that are like, and here's what this person says, and like it's all, and I am like research based. That's where my brain works best, and so I'm like, if I'm going to say this person said this, I'd rather hear them say it. And so, they actually did. And so, yeah, so that was, but yeah, the show's concept is Louie's, and I still appreciate him every day for that.
And that's why we're podcast buddies, because you guys have the actual divas on the show telling us their stories,
Yes.
which is
Absolutely.
so good.
Well, yes, I love a source material, and I love a first person source material. You know what I mean? Nothing is better. Joel Schumacher, what would you say is like his, in your opinion, your humble opinions, is like the best actress, lead or supporting performance in a film of his that you, since you're fresh off watching these movies?
Oh, this is so good. I mean, I think it truly does have to be Uma in Batman and Robin. We did an Uma Thurman episode as well, and she, I think, is sorely underutilized outside of, like, she's great in a lot of things, like Kill Bill, and that universe is probably her like magnum opus work. I think that was Gavin's 5-star review. What she's doing in Batman and Robin is so just precise and gorgeous, and she's getting to play crazy Poison Ivy when she's like actually the scientist, and then when she's like fully in diva glam with Bane as her little like sex robot slash butler slash muscle man. Her versus Arnold Schwarzenegger is just so good. And we talk about this on the episode. Like, lives were changed when she takes off that monkey costume. Like,
yeah.
I have not seen a woman take off a piece of clothing that devastating, that life changing ever.
First of all, sex robot butler muscle man. Have you been reading my resume? Oh my god. But yeah, I think Undersung is, and we didn't really even say this in the episode, but like, he's a great women's director. He really is. Like, the performances he's able to get out of women, and it doesn't always work with men. We talked about how like kind of stiff Val Kilmer is as Batman. But then on the reverse of that, Nicole Kidman in Batman Forever is amazing. Uma Thurman in Batman and Robin's amazing. Even you brought up earlier The Client, like Susan Sarandon in The Client, like, oh my god.
Gavin, I'm so glad you brought it up, because I put it in all caps. Reggie Love was a sexual awakening for me. That character in that movie, like, if you asked me in 1995 who my favorite actors were, they would be Susan Sarandon and unfortunately Kevin Spacey. And at least one of them has borne out to be a mostly good to great egg. And she is so good in that, and I feel like he gives her a lot. Like, I don't know, I didn't compare what was on the page to the film, but I can see like, she has a lot of depth in that film. That character has a lot of depth, and she's so good in it. And also, I want to shout out Mary Louise Parker as I can say this, white trash mom. She is so good as Brad Renfro's mom in that, and it's like, I think. Did you guys think it held up as a thriller? I haven't watched it in probably about like 10 years, but the last time I watched it, I was like, you know what? Yes, still this.
I think it does. Yeah. Go ahead, Gavin.
It works really well as a thriller. My only comment this time watching is it felt so small stakes, and I was a little like, oh, like this is the, like, when I was a kid, when I was Brad Renfro's age, I was like, oh, this is so exciting, he's being chased by a killer, and like, when you watch it, you're kind of like, oh, yeah, this is actually, like, weirdly enough, not complicated for a legal thriller. I feel like nowadays our legal thrillers are like, and there's a twist every 20 seconds. It's the Ryan Murphy-ication of all legal thrillers. But this is like a really kind of small, simple story. And just on the Mary Louise Parker front, all she wants is a walk-in closet. That's all she wants.
And those are her stakes, like, that is her, that's like her reason why, Ugh, I
love when Susan Sarandon at the end, she's like, a little spending cash, a walk-in closet.
She knows what she needs.
I am really hyped about, like, what am I going to watch tonight? Like, I'm going to take a gummy and am I going to watch St. Elmo's Fire? Or am I going to watch The Client? It's really hard to know where I'm going to go.
All right, folks, if you want to hear the rest of this episode, you can go on over to patreon.com where you can listen to the full episode. You can always join us at any tier for ad-free listening, or you can buy individual episodes if that's more your thing. So thank you for all your support. We love you. We hope you're having a great summer. Happy Pride. Pride is every month, not just June. So we hope you enjoyed this little drop of one of our faves about Joel Schumacher. We love Gavin and Louie. Go follow them over at Mixed Reviews. They do great work. And hopefully we'll see you on the Patreon for the full episode.